Welcome back to Pete's World of Poisonous Plants. Last time we explored myths and legends, witches flying on nightshade, werewolves cursed by wolfsbane, and mandrake roots that screamed from the earth. But tonight, we turn to history. These are no longer myths. These are real deaths, murders, and executions brought about by plants. In the 1st century AD, the Roman historian Pliny the Elder wrote of aconite, also called wolfsbane. It was so feared that Roman law banned its cultivation. But laws never stopped a determined killer. Rival politicians were said to have slipped aconite into wine, leaving victims doubled over in agony. First came burning in the throat, then tingling, vomiting, and finally the slow suffocation of a paralyzed chest. To Rome, aconite was not a medicine, it was the queen of poisons. Another Roman tale belongs to the Emperor Claudius. In AD 54, he died suddenly after eating a dish of mushrooms. Officially, it was called an accident. But ancient historians claimed his wife, Agrippina, had arranged his death with a plate of the food of the gods, mushrooms seasoned with poison. Whether it was the deadly Amanita phalloides, the death cap mushroom, or another toxic plant, the symptoms described, stomach cramps, violent vomiting, and collapse, fit the bill. Claudius may have been emperor of the known world, but a simple mushroom brought him down. In the Middle Ages, hellebore earned its place in dark history. Used as both medicine and poison, it was said to cure madness, or cause it. Chronicles tell of soldiers in ancient Greece poisoned when their enemies contaminated the city's water supply with hellebore roots. The men suffered such violent diarrhea and vomiting that they could not fight. Centuries later, in Europe, hellebore was still a favorite for those who wanted a death that looked like natural disease, a wasting away of the body, convulsions, and eventual collapse. The Tudors in England also had their brushes with poisonous plants. Records tell of aconite and foxglove being used in schemes against rivals. Foxglove in particular was both healer and killer. By the 18th century, it was used as a medicine for weak hearts, but in the wrong hands or the wrong dose, it brought sudden death. Nausea, vomiting, green and yellow visions, then the heart faltering and stopping. In rural villages, foxglove leaves could be cooked into stews mistaken for spinach. A single meal was enough to kill without suspicion. One of the more unsettling uses of plants was not in secret murders, but in public punishment. In parts of Europe, suspected criminals or witches were forced to drink herbal brews as part of trial by ordeal. Mixtures of henbane, hellebore, or other toxic plants were given, and if the accused collapsed in fits, vomited blood, or raved in delirium, it was taken as proof of guilt. Survival was rare, and even then, often followed by execution. Poison was not just a weapon, it was a tool of law. And then there is monkshood, another name for aconite. In German folklore, it was called the plant of the witches, but history records it as a hunting poison. Arrowheads tipped with monkshood sap brought down wolves and bears, the paralyzing toxin stopping the beasts in their tracks. But more than once, hunters turned it on people. A wound from a poisoned arrow meant numbness spreading through the body, muscle weakness, then the heart falling silent. To its victims, monkshood was as deadly as steel. What ties all these stories together is the quiet, creeping power of plants. Empires could fall, rulers could die, and armies could crumble, not with swords, but with roots, leaves, and berries. Folklore gave us myths of magic. History shows us murder. This is Pete's World of Poisonous Plants. Enter, if you dare. And in the next episode, we leave history behind and step into the modern world, where poisons still lurk in kitchens, gardens, and teacups. Some killers were caught, others remain unsolved, and some are making headlines today.